Well, I'm starting my walk today to a church lost in time, and I'm on an ancient Wiltshire holloway, which I'll show you in just a minute. So here's the ancient Wiltshire holloway I'm walking up, and it's tarmacked over these days, and we're heading up over here. We then link in with another holloway, and we get to where we want to go, which is that church lost in time. Well, I start my interesting journey here on this holloway junction. You'll notice there's a concrete tractor weight there on the floor, blocking off the holloway there on one side to stop people from fly tipping in it and driving up there and everything else. And there used to be a lorry wheel here, and some local lads grabbed hold of the lorry wheel and rolled it on down the hill here. And you can see the damage that it's caused. That was about a year ago, and it's still not been repaired yet. But this church is truly amazing, and we're going to go in it. It formed part of a manorial complex that has long gone since, and I'll explain where that was in a moment. So we've got to go down and collect the key to get into the church. And as we get to the corner here, look over on this piece of land here. Until the railway came through, there was a manor there, and the manor was demolished for the railway to come through in 1853. You can see the embankment just up there behind. Well, look at that for a key. There's the key, so we can now go on into the church. Looking at this end here, there's an interesting point before we go inside. That is, if you look just up under here, you can see there, that's World War II American troop graffiti, done with pencil admittedly, and leading down there on the south side, so it's quite interesting. Here's the church here, and you can see little weeny spire on the top, and it's been added to and taken away from, bits retained, bits removed, and you've got the graves here as well, which date from 1633 approximately. And to remember, it was part of a big manorial complex which would have been a clearing within the Selwood Forest. So let's open this up. And go inside, and here we are, and you can see that it's got a gallery at the back there, and one up here as well would have been for the choir, and the altar here with a 17th century table. And the weird thing about this is obviously that the altar faces not to the east, because most of our churches, they face to the east, but not this one. But we'll have a look around, and we'll have a look in more detail at some things, and some things which are truly incredible. And you see this clock here by the Warminster clockmaker, and this clock, the incredible thing about it is it's got no hands on there. So it always seems to me to be lost in time. And that's because the hands were sent away for repair years ago and never went back on. So that's the church clock. But the other point about this clock is too, it's made by the same maker as the clock in Longleat House. So it's got a very noble connection. Oh, we're just taking the stairs up the back of the church now, up to the gallery up here. You can see there it's pine. Obviously a lot of it was redone in the 18th century, like a lot of churches. The Victorians ruined them and just kicked my foot. But that gives you a perspective of the church here now. And you can see it's just beautiful, and it's got gated pews as well. And it's got a 3-tier pulpit, a little roof on it. And that's the doorway there that we were looking at on the way in. And although it's 14th century, it's been added to, taken away from, so really very little of the 14th century remaining, apart from a couple of things which we'll have a look at in just a moment. But what a lovely building it is. So I think we'll go back down the stairs. So let's go down these carefully. Don't want to fall because I'm on my own here, obviously. Quite dark this bit. You've got the font there. Wonder how many people have been christened in that. So predominantly an agricultural area. The pews here being doored off as they are. Just come round to here. Pews, you can see you open them up. And they were built for families. And there was a reason behind that. And the reason was that the church used to sell pews and rent out pews with pew tax. Because after the Reformation, they didn't get a lot of money in, and they were looking to get money in to regain some of their wealth. And they actually, you would rent a pew for your family to come here every Sunday. Or the Lord of the Manor would, and you want to be seen by him because you work for him. And they're gated all the way through here. And they are part of the restoration of this church. But looking back, you've also got the older oak pews here. There's a couple remaining, and you can see how old they are in comparison to the new pine there with the fire extinguisher. Well, obviously so in this day and age. And just looking up, another train going past there. George III, Mad George III, that is his insignia up there. So it gives you a idea of the time, 1770s, when this was restored. Walking on down here, and there are some other bits which are really interesting. And that is remnants of a 15th century painting there on a wall, which is very significant. Not many places you can go and see things of that nature. So very significant indeed. Back round by the pulpit. And we'll just walk over to the other side. I have to walk back round the pews again here. And it's just a lovely place. A lot of memorials and things on the walls, but also too, in the older ones, it's hardly decipherable now. Very difficult to see. That's the Lord's Prayer there. And a lot of these things were painted out in the Reformation. And who knows what still lies behind these walls. And then we've got like a harmonium type organ here. And the interesting thing about this is, if you look at it there, made in Canada. So it's come all the way from Canada all those years ago to be in here. And this church has no electricity at all. So hence that's why, if you're saying turn on the light, James, I can't do it, which is a shame. But a lovely thing. I don't think I can, I don't know if it still plays. Let's see. No, I don't want to break it. Don't think it does. So we'll come on round here and you can see that it's leaning in several areas. But a true church lost in time. Saxon origins, but then still with us today. There's also another balcony there. That was for the choir. We saw that when we came in. Just in line with the George III crest on there. We talked about Mad King George. And we come down towards the altar now. And off to the left-hand side. And this was a schoolroom in here. So this little room in here was a schoolroom. And if you look in here, it's got a fireplace in there. And just by the gas fire there's a coffin-shaped pine stand to put coffins on. And that one's an 18th century one. It's not a 15th century. Very few 15th century burial remnants. As I said, most of the burials here is from 1633 on, and if there's some unidentified ones, there is a reason for that. And I'll try and tell you the reason, I think, in a moment. But I'm just in awe of this place. Just, if I go around like this, the people that must have been here, married, christened, died, educated, in this wonderful Wiltshire gem. It is just incredible. So just sat down in the church porch now, summarising it before I go. This church would have been within the Selwood Forest. A clearing within that. The hollow ways would have led to it. It is a snap in time that has been saved. And everything around it has long since gone or been developed. So it is a true, incredible part of our history. And I'm pleased it's just up the road from me, not too far at all. So it's a nice walk out, have a look around, but incredible history in a small building that's been built on since the Reformation, dates back earlier than is said. But it's just good fun to come to these places, so I hope you'll come and visit sometime and enjoy it too. Oh, and if you do visit, don't forget to take the key back.